Okay. Good morning, children. How are you? Must be fine. That's good. So, another Monday has come to our life, and we are to start a new chapter. But our chapter is still in continuation. On this fresh day, I shall begin from page number 35 of Vistas. Chapter number 4, The Enemy is going on. Before I start, let me recapitulate the point. An American prisoner of war is washed ashore on a sea beach in front of Dr. Sadao's house. Out of compassion or out of his duty towards patient, he takes that person home. He operates upon his body and takes the bullet out. Now, what happens? We have to read. First of all, we shall go go at the bottom of page number 35. The young man woke. So weak. After the operation, the young man woke. So weak. His blue eyes, oh, so terrified. He was very much terrified. Fear. He had fear. He perceived. Perceived means he saw what? Where he was. Now we are to start from this particular point. Here it is. Okay? Where he was, that Hana felt compelled to apologize. Hana had to feel apology. Apology means she had to feel sorry. Why? Why she had to feel sorry? Because they had brought an injured, unconscious man home without his permission. Now, this is again, I would say, a courtesy, an international courtesy, mark of courtesy. If you bring someone, if you take someone to a place without his permission, you have to beg sorry. So she did. She herself served him, for none of the servants would enter the room. My God, this was a problem for her, right? She came on the first time. She came in the first time. She saw him summon his strength. Now, summon here generally stand for call, but now here summon will stand for he collected. He collected his strength, his small strength that he had, to be prepared for some fearful thing. Oh my God! Immediately he stood up. Oh, someone has come. He was very afraid, as though someone is coming to hurt him. Hey, don't be afraid, she begged him softly. How come you speak English? He gasped. He spoke with gasping, just sighing, taking big heaves. How come you speak English means how you know to how you come to know about English. I was a long time in America, she replied. She saw that he wanted to reply to that, but he could not. And so she knelt and fed him gently with a porcelain spoon. Oh God. She could not see that a man who was not able to raise himself, how would he eat? Then she felt pity on her. She felt pity on him, and she started feeding him with porcelain spoon. This is porcelain spoon, my dear. Porcelain, bone china spoon. You must have seen the teacups are there at your home, na? Made of bone china, right? So this is porcelain spoon that she gave the food with. He ate unwillingly, but still he ate. Now you will soon be strong, she said, not liking him and yet moved to comfort him. Oh my God, look at this tragedy. She didn't like him. First point you all must keep in your mind, that she never liked him, not liking him, but she had moved on to comfort him. What does it mean? Ki out of her love for her husband, because her husband had brought him home, and she was taking care of him just because he was the duty of his stay was the duty was the outcome of the duty of her husband. Then he said he did not answer at that point. But when Sadao came in the third day after the operation, he found the young man sitting up, his face bloodless with effort. Means when he was going to rise the face, there was no blood in him at least. Most of the blood had been flown away, right? Oh, lie down, Sadao cried. Do you want to die? Now, what does this show? It shows a doctor's concern for his patient. He never wanted that the man would die at his home, and his successful operation turns into a failure. He never wanted. He wanted his patient to recover to the last. Okay? He forced the man down gently and strongly, examined the wound. You may kill yourself if you do this sort of thing. Okay? He scolded, डांटते हुए. Oh, don't ever do it again. You may kill yourself. It shows that he was a true doctor. He can rebuke also. That's good. Where are you going? What are you going to do with me? The boy muttered. Hey, please tell me. What are you going to do with me? He looked just now barely 17. Are you going to hand me over? Hand me over to whom? Hand me over to the police? Please tell me, what are you going to do with me? Dr. Sadao, I don't know myself what I shall do with you, he said. I ought of course to give you to the police. You are a prisoner of war. No, do not tell me anything. He put up his hand and he saw the young man was about to speak. When he saw that young man was going to speak, to reply to his wordings, then he said, no, do not even tell me don't even tell me your name unless I ask it. I don't want to ask anything about you. But I don't know. The first line, let's concentrate on first line. He said, I do not know myself what I shall do with you. What does it mean? Means he was so much confused over his duties as a true national or as a true doctor. He was somewhere torn between his two duties, what he should do, whether he has done it right, that he had brought him home. Oh, so much confusion was there. But anyway, he was doing it. They now start reading again from this particular point. Yes, understood? They looked at each other for a moment, and then the young man closed his eyes and turned his face to the wall. Okay, he whispered, his mouth a bitter line. Mouth a bitter line? It was a very poor, unpleasant expression that appeared on his face. Means he was not getting a proper answer to his queries. Some were doubtful. What would happen to him? Outside the door, Hana was waiting for Sadao. He saw at once that she was in trouble. Hey, Sadao, Yumi tells me that the servants feel they cannot stay if we hide this man here anymore. She said, she tells me that they are saying that you and I were so long. Now this was nothing but a complaint from the side of Hana. What does she say? Yes, she says, Sadao, today Hana was here and she was telling that the servants were talking about leaving the house. They were saying that you and I were so long in America that we have forgotten to think of our own country. This is the line we. Now the servants somewhere blamed Hana and Sadao that they had been in America for so long that they had developed a sort of love for the enemy. I mean, enemies means Americans, and we are neglecting our country. They think we like Americans. It is not true, Sadao said harshly. It is not true. Americans are our enemies, but I have been trained not to let a man die if I can help it. Now, this was a real aggression from the doctor. How can one say that I am just derelicting my duties? I cannot. I love my country and all Americans are my enemies. I know it. But what can I do? I am a doctor also. I'm a doctor first. I have to save the life of a person, whosoever he is, whether American, whether Japanese, or any other national. This real aggression was there. The servants cannot understand that, no, she said anxiously. The servants cannot understand. Means this particular thing, that the doctor's duty is to be done first of all. This particular thing can never be understood by the servants. They don't have so big mind. They only know about their country. This philosophy that a doctor must first of all serve a human being, and then he should realize his caste, creed, or religion. This thought can never enter the mind of servants. What they could do? Anyway, no, he agreed. Neither seemed able to say more, and somehow the household dragged on. Dragged on, moved on. Dragged on means carried on. The household dragged on. The servants grew more watchful. Their courtesy was ever. Oh God, one more thing. Their courtesy was as careful as ever. What do you mean by courtesy? Courtesy, their softness, their respect for the master. They all had same respect and courtesy for the master as ever. But one thing was missing. What? Their eyes were cold upon the pair to whom they were hired. Their eyes were cold means the warmth of love, the warmth to serve. There was a relation that develops between the two, between servant and the master. Somewhere that was missing for the pair. Who's the pair here? Hana and Sadao. Means the love, the warmth, the inner feeling that was missing somewhere. Okay, no problem. It is clear what our master ought to do, the old gardener said one morning. He had worked with flowers all his life and had been especially too in moss. Moss, I told you earlier. Yes, it's a kind of small vegetation that grows near the sea or in the damp areas, you can say. Right? He was an expert of moss also. Gardener he was. Sadao, now, specialist too in moss. For Sadao's father, he had made one of the finest moss garden in Japan, sweeping the bright green carpets. What is the green carpet? Yes, grass. The bright green carpet constantly, so that not a leaf or a pine needle. Pine needle, you understand what is a pine needle? Pine needle, I show you. This is pine needle. Okay? A needle type, you can say, leaf of plant that falls on the ground generally, and it pinches also, just like a needle, right? That falls from the pine trees. So pine needle marred the velvet. Marred means, marred here stand for spoil. What do you mean by marred? Marred stand for spoiled. Here it is. Mm, there. Marred means spoiled. Spoil the velvet of its surface. Velvet, the softness of its surface. My old master's son knows very well that what we ought to do. What he ought to do, he now said, pinching a bud from the bush. Pinching, plucking a bud from a bush, he said, as he spoke, oh, my old master's son, who is the old master? Sadao's father. He knows what to do, but he's not doing. When the man was so near death, why did he not let him bleed there? When he was going to die at the seashore and he was bleeding furiously, he could have died there. He should have let him die there on the spot. Why did he bring him home? That young master is so proud of his skill to save life that he saves any life. The cook said. Cook was also standing there. He says, our young master is very much proud of his art of saving life. Means he is an expert doctor, and would he save any life if he has such a great skill of saving the life? Even an enemy's life would be saved. Oh, the cook said contemptuously, very harshly. She split a fowl's neck skillfully and held the fluttering bird and let its blood flow into the roots of wisteria vine. Oh God! What? Cook was standing there. She was having a bird in her hand. She split a fowl's neck. Split, put apart. He broke the neck of a bird. Yes, and very skillfully, very artistically, very elegantly, very you can say skillfully, and held the fluttering bird and let its blood flow into the roots of wisteria vine. Wisteria vine, a plant is there. Do you see wisteria vine? Oh, let us see. This is wisteria vine. Okay, this is the plant of wisteria vine. Now, if it is you can say irrigated with blood, so it grows well. So that is what it is. It has been said. He let the blood flow into the roots of wisteria vine. Kyun? But blood is the best of fertilizers. And old gardener would not let her waste a drop of it. Whenever they had to cook any fowl or any, you can say cook or any other fowl that they were going to cook, he never let a single drop of blood waste. He always asked the cook to drop every drop of blood into the roots of wisteria vine. Right? Now let's again come to that particular point. Yes. Here we were. That young master is so proud that we have done. It is now. We were studying at this particular point. Boys, girls, please come to this particular point. Here, yes, we are here now. It is the children of whom we must think, Yumi said very sadly. What will be their fate if their master is condemned as a traitor? These three servants, they were talking to each other on this issue, what their master should do in this condition. Everybody had his or her own reasons for that. Right? Now, they did not try to hide what they said from the ears of Hana as she stood arranging the day's flowers in the veranda nearby, and she knew they spoke on purpose. Oh God, they three were talking just deliberately. They were making their mistress Hana realize and listen what they were talking about. Means they were saying on purpose. On purpose means deliberately, knowingly, and that she might hear that they were right, and she knew too in most of her being Hana also knew that stay of this man in the house was not good, but there was another part of her which she herself could not understand. What was this part? There was another part of her which she herself could not understand. What is this? What she could not understand? What is the part here which has been described by the narrator, by the writer? Yes, the kindness and her dedication, devotion to her husband. Right? This was the thing that he could not deny. It was not sentimental liking of the prisoner. She had come to think of him as a prisoner. She had not liked him even yesterday. She had not liked him even yesterday. Why? When? When he had said in his impulsive way. Next page please, page number 38. The next day, when she went to her room, then deliberately she said something. He said something. Who? Anyway, that American. Yes, anyway, let me tell you that my name is Tom. She had only bowed a little, distant bow. Distant bow, generally Japanese people, you must have seen, they bow a little. Whenever they are to oblige someone, they are to just acknowledge someone, they bow. They bow down a little bit. She saw hurt in his eyes, but she did not wish to assuage it. Assuage it. What do you mean by assuage it? Assuage stand for lower it. Assuage here stand for just to ease. She never wanted to ease that feeling. Right? He was a great trouble in the house. As for Sadao, every day he examined the wound carefully. The last stitches had been pulled out this morning. Stitches of the wound. And the young man would in a fortnight stand for how many days in a fortnight? Yes, come on, tell me. How many days? 15 days. Yes, in 15 days we nearly as well as ever. Okay, Sadao went back to his office and carefully typed a letter to the chief of police reporting the whole matter. Oh God, what he's doing now? On the 21st day of February, an escaped prisoner was washed up on the shore in front of my house. So far, he typed, and then he opened a secret drawer of his desk and put the unfinished report into it. What was he doing? He wrote the letter, confessed everything in the letter, but he did not deliver it to someone, did not post it, did not send it, put in his drawer. Swasti. Now, on the 7th day after that, two things happened. In the morning, the servants left altogether, their belongings tied in a large square cotton kerchief, a big chunk, you can say cloth, or you can say a bed sheet, right? They all tied their belongings in the kerchief and they went off. When Hana got up in the morning, nothing was done. The house not cleaned and the food not prepared, and she knew what it meant. She was dismayed. She was perplexed, confused. Oh my God, what is there? And even terrified. But her pride as a mistress would not allow her to show it. That's it. She was the mistress of the house, and how would she bend in front of the servants? How would she accept her defeat? No. Her pride remained as ever. Right? So instead, she raised her head. Yes, she raised her head gracefully when they appeared before her in the kitchen. One by one they came to kitchen. And she paid them off and thanked them for what all they had done for her. Means the servants were going and she was paying them off. Yes, salary was being given. They were crying, but she did not cry. The cook and the gardener had served Sadao since he was a little boy in his father's house. And Yumi cried. Why? Because of the children. She had love was developed, na. That's why she was crying. Okay. She was so grieving. She was so anxious that after she had gone, she ran back to Hana. Oh, ma'am, if the baby misses me too much tonight, na, send for me. Means call me. I am going to my own house, and you know where it is. Oh, okay. Thank you, Hana said, smiling. But she told herself she would not send for Yumi, however the baby cried. What does it mean? This is what her pride speaks. This is what her pride speaks. She would not call Yumi, whatever the condition is. She would handle the things herself. Okay, boys, girls, here I finish today, and in the next uh, lesson we shall be able to finish it. Okay, goodbye.